Court of Tragically Abhorrent Richards. I love it so much. Welcome, everyone. Hi, welcome to our live show discussing A Court of Thorns and Roses, the classic. The classic Sarah J. Maas that started it all. Well, not really. I think Thorn and Glass was her first series, but definitely I think ACOTAR was like made her bigger. So I guess maybe just should we introduce ourselves first? And like if it's your first time or if it's rereads or what it has, and maybe just general impressions of the book.
Sure.
Or what you read.
Who wants to start?
Whoever wants to go first. Go ahead, Megan. I'll go last. I have to go last as the host.
Okay. Hi, I'm Megan, or Meowth Vader. This is my second time reading A Court of Thorns and Roses. I only read books 1 and 2. I've never read past them. And everyone's a dick. Abhorrent Richards. Like, that's my impression of this book.
Solid opinion. Yeah.
Summed up well.
Marianne?
I'm Marianne and my channel is We Last Were Book, and my takeaway from reading the book was the reason I read it was to see if it was worth the hype, and while I enjoyed it, I don't think it was worth the hype.
Really?
Yeah. But I think it might be because like my teenage years were kind of like the fantasy kind of paranormal Twilight and like Vampire Diaries and all that sort of thing, so it feels like I've kind of already kind of been through that kind of vibe. I don't know.
No, I can totally see that too. Hello, my name is Bethany and my channel is The Knees Thoughts, and this was my first time reading it. It definitely reminded me of other things. Like I definitely could see like inspiration from other books from A Court of Thorns and Roses. And I love myself Beauty and the Beast retelling. But this was it was okay. I liked it, but I also am like, I don't know where the rest of the series is going, especially because I know certain bits and pieces already just from like being in booktube and book community and that kind of thing. So I'm kind of like, where else is this going? So I'm still a little bit torn. I've just finished it. So for those who didn't know, I just finished it super late last night. So I'm still like probably on like 6 hours of sleep right now. So I'm still feel like I'm processing what I felt about it, but maybe I can decide more as this discussion continues. So, So let's start. Let's go off Megan's comment about all of them being Richards. What makes them all ticks? Why? Because this is what Marianne and I are wondering. What we talked about in our chat. Why is the hate for Tamlin? I still don't get it.
I think you'll get more of the hate for Tamlin in the next book, but also Tamlin's just kind of a jerk in general. Like he doesn't do anything except for brood. Like that's all he does. He broods, and then he broods, and then he gets. We're allowed to spoil this, right? Because I assume everybody's read this book except for like y'all.
Yeah, let's spoil. This is a spoilery discussion, so if you're not here for spoilers, then you probably this discussion's probably not for you.
It's like he broods, he throws violent tantrum, he broods, he pushes her. He has sex with her, he pushes her away, and then he ignores her while she's like dying. And then after she has essentially died, he's like, I should kill the bad guy now because I'm throwing a tantrum. So like,
that's a good point.
That's Tamlin. That's literally all Tamlin.
I mean, a lot of people are saying also next book.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll see. So, okay, second book, I guess there's much more hate for Tamlin. And Feyre's families are dicks too.
Oh
You know,
my
I
God,
kind of, we'll get into Nesta in a second, at least from this first
Nesta.
one. I kind of, but like I expect, and maybe this is me, and I don't know if Marianne, if you felt the same way, but I felt like Tamlin was like a typical hero from a Beast, the Beauty and the Beast retelling. Like that's why I guess he didn't bother me. Like do you
see her face? She has thoughts.
Go ahead.
Do you know, I think that it might be kind of, he's painted as the kind of stereotypical brooding hero. And I hated, like, a lot of it seemed kind of cliche, like, especially the, oh no, I can't have sex with you because I'll lose control and might kill you and all that shit. Like,
that is very Twilight. You're right.
yeah.
Well, like him being brooding and moody, like that's very Beauty and the Beast retelling. Like that's what that hero trope is, like very grump, very brooding, very dark, very. And
he doesn't wait to redeem himself till after the heroine dies, and like
he got his power back. But he got his power back then, right? That's why he was able to like go after her, because she solved the riddle so instantaneously he got his power back.
Oh, did you read that quote that I put that was the stupidest riddle in the entire world?
I did see that. Okay. So Kayla understands book 1 Tamlin. Okay.
Like, I get book 1 Tamlin, but so the first time I read this book, I literally just like gave up on it after the first trial. Like I was just like, I'm over it. Tamlin is still useless. Everyone is useless. And I'm just like so done with this stupid book. And then I didn't pick it back up for a year. Until everybody was like, but the second book. And then I like trudged through it to get to the second book.
Okay.
And now you're trudging through it again. I've literally, just when you said Beauty and the Beast, I've just like realised that the gallery thing was like Belle going into the library, and I don't know how I never made that connection until right this very second.
Well, Feyre can't read, so like the library would be useless.
I forgot about
that. But the study was for her to like, she was gonna try to write a letter. Okay, we'll get to Feyre in a second. But because I still want to figure out Tamlin. So, so book 1 Tamlin, everyone sort of doesn't like, but like doesn't hate. But book 2 Tamlin, it seems like everyone hates and he gets way worse. Is that the consensus? Comments you can confirm. Megan, you can confirm because you've read the second book at least.
I mean, Tamlin just stays broody, tantrumy Tamlin, and it does kind of get worse. Like he like just becomes, his power coming back has just made him tenfold Tamlin.
Okay. And we got some agreements on that.
Yep.
Okay, awesome. So let's discuss talking about Feyre being illiterate. Let's discuss Feyre for a second. What did we think of her character and how
I do it.
You didn't like her?
I don't like her either.
It was just like that, again, stereotypical, don't do this, you're gonna die, and then she's like, no, I'm gonna do it anyway, and then complains when she gets hurt. Like,
I do what I want.
It's just, it made me so angry. No self-preservation whatsoever. That's natural selection at work.
That's a good way to describe her. No self-preservation whatsoever. I definitely can get that from her. Yeah, we have another one that really don't like her. Okay. Megan, what were you gonna say about her? Were you gonna say something?
Well, I was just like she's just not an interesting person. Like she's kind of boring, and she's like, I hate violence, but she always like falls back into violence. So she's like, I don't want to be violent, I hate violence. And then she's like, this is probably the easiest solution. Murder everything.
That's a really good thing. Well, and it seems like she believes at least that this was like thrust on her, like this choice was like thrust on her, right? Like she makes it seem that she had to be the one to provide for her family, so she had to hunt, and then in doing that and choosing that path, it's led her down like this, and then she ended up killing the fairy guy, so it led her down like this darker path. But then when she has to choose violence again and again, she still ends up choosing it. So that's a good point.
I just don't understand how she could be this kind of brave character that'll like fight everybody, but she didn't have enough of a backbone to grab her sisters and go, "You need to help me with this, and this."
For when like, well,
when she was looking after the family.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like she's like they're like you go out and kill the things. Oh, you are dirty. Oh, you go like chop the wood and skin the deer. And it's like, bruh, there are 3 other people in this house and they are all adults. Kayla, I like her enough. Like enough to just like keep reading the books.
I like her enough. Does she get better? I don't know.
Oh, I still don't like her.
Really?
I'm just not a fan of Feyre. She is not one of my favorite people.
I think going off Marianne's comment, but of not just being the people helping her and her family, but here she has, Heather joined us. Hey, Heather.
Heather!
Here she has ample amounts of time. She has ample amounts of time to go to read, to learn how to read. And she gets so stubborn and so prideful that she refuses to have Tamlin help her read. And then the trial comes where she ends up having to know how to read. And she obviously fails it. Or doesn't fail it, but ends up cheating to be able to pass it. But I'm wondering why, she didn't ask for help. She was two-step. She wanted to do it all herself, but then complain when other people wouldn't help her. But then she wouldn't ask for help anyway.
And then when she got help, she was just like, I hate that they're helping me. And I'm like, bruh, you can't read. Why are you feeling guilty that you solved the thing? Because you can't read. She had months in his court. And she gave up so fast on trying to write that letter.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if I had ample amounts of time and I had the opportunity to learn to read and write with someone willing to teach me, I would have taken the opportunity. I mean, instead she wanted to paint, which is fine, but I was like, this was your time to learn how to read. If
like,
that's really,
I need to write this letter. I need to write this letter. She tried by herself and she's like, man, it's too hard to learn to read by myself as an adult. And I'm like, fair. It's hard to learn how to read, especially if you're an adult. And then she's just like, meh. And just walks away.
Well, and then Tamlin's like, well, go ahead, Marianne.
I think especially the fact that she was like, it was emphasized just how much she was worried about her family to the point where she thought she saw her dad and left the house. But so surely by that point you were like, right, I'm just going to swallow my pride. Help me write this letter. I need it. It just doesn't make sense for her to be that prideful that she's like, nah, sorry.
Right. Exactly.
Oh, well, they'll die.
And that's a good point too, Heather. They don't and she definitely is like that. Feyre does not like to be bad at anything. So instead of actually accepting help, she just wants to continue to be bad at it. So
to her detriment. And her almost death. And Lucian's almost death.
And Lucian's almost death too in that trial. Yes, absolutely. Much like, yes, Selena. Very stubborn and impulsive, much like Selena. Selena's the Thorn of Glass heroine.
I've only read the first 2 books of that one too.
I actually only read the first book, and I did not care for the series. I did not like the first book whatsoever, so I didn't read any more of the series. But yeah, that's also very true. But at least I don't know. I'm not going to go into why I don't like Thorn of Glass, but Selena's one of the big reasons. Going back to Feyre, yes. So I liked her during the trials though. That made her somewhat likable to me because it was okay, at least you're motivated. At least you're no, why did I leave? That was stupid. I need to go back and save my man. I'm all for for that, and that was I thought that whole arc was interesting and made her more likable to me. But like so much the first like 75% is just heavy with her being annoying for the first part of the book. What did you think of? So let's move on to the next character, Rysand, which in the first book you don't get a whole lot of him. Is that how you say his name? I want to make sure I said it correctly.
Is it Rysand or Rysand? I think it's Rysand. Because Reese is a better nickname than Rice. So I'm gonna go with Rysand.
Well, Reese, and if used as a Welsh name, the RHYS, it's Reese. So I think it might be
Rysand.
Maybe.
Okay.
I mean, fairies in Welsh, that goes.
I think that fits too. And Feyre is considered like an olden time name, so
Ye olden Feyre.
So Rysand. Yeah.
Rysand.
Reconfirms it's Rysand. Thank you. So Rysand. So how do we feel about Rysand in the first book? Also, Richard.
I was gonna call him a cuss word. Oh yeah, he's a total Richard. We'll go with Richard. We'll keep saying Richards. He's a big fat Richard, or like a really small sad one. He's just not. He's like kind of the worst. He gets better, I will say. In the trials, he gets better after he like breaks her arm so bad that she passes out from pain. And then coerces her into doing a deal with him. And then he's like, all right, well, I win whatever battle's in my brain, so now I'll help you.
I had really mixed feelings. For the most part, did not was not a fan. And then at other times I thought, well, at least he's kind of trying to help, but no, don't like him. Maybe I'm just too fussy.
Well, we have a Rysand stan over here. Sorry, Heather. It's first book Rysand though, which I know he gets more
first
development.
Book. I will say, first, regardless of if it is just first book Rysand, he's still more entertaining than first book like Tamlin.
At least he's got a bit of a personality.
He's a personality.
He definitely is an interesting character. A little bit manipulative, a little bit of a ego, arrogance. So yeah, I don't know what I feel about him. I kind of don't like him because he's arrogant, and I don't usually like those kind of characters. But I also think that he had the moment when he came back into her cell and she like started telling her like kind of started divulging like I'm tired, I'm through with this, I'm having to play this woman's puppet and I'm over it. And I think in that moment I was like, okay, you are acting very different than your thoughts are acting very different than what you're acting like you're totally on. There's so much that like you're hiding about yourself right now that
he's kind of hot though.
Going on. What, he's hot or that was hot?
Rysand is hot. They described him as a very hot dude.
They did, yeah. She did call him, I think the line was, he's the most beautiful. She saw the most beautiful man when the first time she saw him, the most beautiful man that she'd ever seen. When she saw him for the first time. So
it should just be like his tagline. He's kind of hot though.
And High Lords are allowed to be self-important. Yeah. I feel like Rysand's more arrogant than Tamlin is. Tamlin's more
I can see that.
Yeah. At least there was a line where he's in the dungeon and she's like, they're having a conversation at one point and he's like said something like, oh, it's not just his face or whatever. Like he said something like really like trying to be, I don't know, just trying to show off. And she was just like, whatever. So now let's go to Feyre's family a little bit. And So I know there's a lot of hate for Nesta, and I don't know if Nesta gets worse in the other books or if she's just Feyre gets more with her family. But I kind of like Nesta at the end, at least. Like, I understood her a little bit better when she goes back to her family, and Nesta is the only one that remembers. And Nesta is like, yeah, this was like, I actually remember everything that happened, and I tried to go find you. And so I was like, okay, that's respect. Like, you're going to try to go find your sister from this, because she only saw Tamlin as the beast. Like, she only saw him as the animal, and she didn't know anything else about him. So for her to go and like seek her out, I thought was really brave of Nesta, and I admired that.
She is less useless than Elaine.
Elaine, I feel like, is more like the
most useless person that has ever personed in the entire personhood history.
Well, again, also it worked
Which
into
is
the
nice.
trope. Yes. Again, also, like, it worked into the tropes of like the Beauty and the Beast retelling, though. That sisters are useless in the Beauty and the Beast, like, original fairy tale as well. So I kind of was like, okay, it's working off the tropes that I'm familiar with. So it didn't really bother me as much. Except
I just find it weird that people are like, oh, but Elaine is like a good sister. And I was like, Elaine is a useless sister. The only difference is that she is, in general, a more pleasant person. Like, she still was just like, oh, instead of being like, oh, Feyre, I'll go like help chop logs, or I'll go help skin deer. She was just like, thanks for doing that. And it's like, girl, you are an able-bodied adult. You can do it too. She's just useless.
I feel like they coddled her. They obviously, both Feyre and Nesta coddled Elaine, and I didn't know why. I feel like there should have been a reason.
She's the youngest? No, she's not. Feyre's the youngest, right?
Feyre's the youngest. Yeah.
I thought
Feyre's the youngest.
No,
that's even worse.
Nesta's the oldest.
Elaine's the middle, and Feyre's the youngest.
I thought
Which is weird, because
was the
usually
oldest,
it's the
which is why I
middle
thought she
child.
had the responsibility.
Oh,
Feyre's the youngest.
Oh my god.
Feyre was just the least useless. So I guess their dying mother was like, I know that you're the least useless child. So like,
yeah, make a vow.
Rise up.
I wonder if Feyre, well, okay, so but maybe, well, like, I felt like what if Elaine was sickly, or what if she like was generally weaker, or what if she like had, I don't know, maybe she was like simple or something, like something that would explain why they coddled her a little bit more. Oh,
She was
okay.
the pretty one.
That's Kayla's. That's probably, that might be, or like at least she's like a gentle spirit, and like she's more marriageable that way. Because Feyre and Nesta
spirit can still cook and clean. Just saying.
I mean, yes, you're right.
Because Feyre prepared the deer, like the jerky part of the deer and everything. I'm like, she can cook and clean. She's gonna get married. She can be useful. I don't know why I'm so anti-Elaine. I was not like this when I was reading the book.
Sometimes things come out when you talk, when you start talking about it, that you didn't know that you felt at the time. I get that.
That's
Marianne,
true, because like I gave this a 5. Like when I finished reading the book, I gave it 4.5 stars. But now that I'm talking about it and thinking about it more, I'm going, I actually didn't like it as much as I remember.
That's okay. I'm thinking it's going to be around the 3.5 territory for me for stars wise. Just as yeah. But so that's kind of where I'm feeling for it right now. But we'll see. I think Elaine probably was marriageable, probably because she was a gentle spirit. Nesta was mean, and Feyre was like the tough one, I guess. So that made Elaine more marriageable in that way. I think the character that I'm more mad at in that family out of anyone is the father.
Oh yeah, he's super useless. I mean, at least I guess
super useless.
They did like throttle his knee to the point where he couldn't walk. So at least there's a little reason why he's useless.
But like at least like he but at least he could have been like present with it. Uh-oh, Megan went away. I don't know what happened to her.
Megan got pizza, sorry.
But at least like at least the dad could have been present, because it seemed like he was just mostly the time checked out. Even if he physically couldn't have done anything, like at least he could have been just present, or like at least like Feyre goes and tells him, you need to talk Nesta out of marrying this really terrible guy. And he was like, she needs hope, whatever, like move along. And it was like, no, but like you really should tell him not to marry this terrible guy. Like I don't, that you need to at least be present. And I don't think that was what I like. He was the absent parent, but being there. The absent parent trope, but actually being there, but also being useless. So
I do like that Nesta was just like, oh, I hate my father, and my father knows it, and I will be vocal about how much I hate this man that is sitting 5 feet away from me. God, did I tell you I hate you, you useless old man? And I'm like, tell him how you really feel.
I mean, I suppose that could explain why he was so withdrawn from the daughters. Because, I mean, if somebody's repeatedly telling you, I hate you, well, if somebody's telling you repeatedly that they hate you, you're not really going to make the effort. If they're over the age of, like, 18.
Yeah, I mean, like, the only one who was nice to him was the useless one. So, like, what does he have to fight for?
And Feyre a little bit, though, too. Like, Feyre was, like,
tolerated him, but, like...
her dream was that she wanted her two sisters married off and out of the house and just her and her dad like chilling. That was her dream. So like she obviously,
I mean, she cares for him.
Yeah, like she cares, but she wanted the other two sisters out of the house. She was like over them.
And I think he had the one child who made him feel bad because she was just berating him all the time or ignoring him. And then the one child who he felt extreme guilt for because she is now the caregiver of the household. And then the only one that like he felt okay with was the useless one who's gonna like leave the first most likely anyway.
Who was gonna go to the continent? Who was gonna like totally ditch and bail when they had money, when they got wealthy again. She was like, I'm going to the continent. Do you want to come, Feyre? And Feyre's like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Let's go.
What continent are they talking about? Are they talking about like Europe?
I don't really know. I mean,
I know this is like a fake land, but like my brain is still just like,
I don't know. They were the world building was a little bit vague. I think
it was like a British E.
I'm going to look at the map. Wait a minute.
The map looks very much like the UK to me, except there's like the map of like Prythian.
Prythian.
It
That's
doesn't
how the
look
audiobook
UK,
says it is
actually.
Prythian.
Doesn't look like the UK, Marianne?
Yeah.
Marianne lives there.
Oh my God. I live under the mountain.
Definitely not a place you want to be.
Well.
So yeah, it looks very
vaguely UK-ish.
Yeah.
Yes, it looks very UK-ish. And then there's like a bunch of water, and then there's like a big old land like over here that just says Fairy Realm, and that's it. Like there's not, so you don't really know where the continent is.
It's a continent.
Somewhere else.
That's why I was like, are they talking like continent as US or continent as Europe?
I was assuming Europe. I was assuming US because
I was assuming US because they were like, y'all need to just leave this area. And I was like, well, leaving this area, you just go like way across to the US. You're good. No fairy's gonna get you there.
Oh yeah, she and I don't know where the king, the bad king, hey, oh, I forgot his name. My
brain went Hamish, and I know that's not right. So.
I think it's I was going to bring my Kindle out so I'd have my notes next to me.
I have my phone. I guess I could look.
Hayden, the evil king, or whatever. I assumed because they were talking about how his land had no humans, so I assumed that
Europe has no humans.
Well, I don't know. I assumed that they didn't. That was like, okay, they had no humans. I wonder. I just assumed I just assumed U.S. But I honestly don't know. I don't know. That's just where my brain went because I'm in the U.S. and immigrants came to the U.S. So
it's like humans. I don't know. If I just keep saying the word humans, things will come to me, I guess.
I want to say it's Hayden, but I can't remember. Anyway, what do we think of?
Wait. The eye in the ring was Dorian, Durian, like the fruit, or Dorian like the name?
Durian. It was just the J, Jurian, I think.
Okay.
That was messed
Creepy?
up. I kind of hope we get the ring, because the at the end the ring is gone, and I kind of was like, poor Jurian, like, where's the ring? I feel like I'd want to like let him free.
He brought it on himself by.
True. No, he did, but also like, oof, that's a life. That's no your consciousness and just seeing everything sounds awful.
With your one eyeball.
Yeah. Wow.
In the hand of, like,
going off Jurian though, what do we think of Amarantha? Is that how you say it?
Amarantha, yeah.
She's
I mean, like, they built her up. You call her a toad?
No, a cow.
Oh, cow. I mean, she's a cow. I'd give that, yeah.
They built her up and...
Oh, so they built her up as, like, this great bad power. And it was so anticlimactic at the end.
She wasn't quite the bad bitch I was expecting.
I know. It was like she got bored of writing and was just like...
We'll throw a
And then
worm
she
in
solved the
there.
thing, stabbed the person, done.
Sorry. Say that again.
I want to hear Marianne's opinions.
Yeah, what Marianne say that again too?
I was expecting a big massive like standoff, and it was just like she threw a worm at her and some writing on a wall, and it was I felt underwhelmed.
So you wanted, like, did you want her like to be tortured like Claire was, or did you want like
if you're gonna like build something up that much, I want like fucking like Joffrey style evil, but instead she was just a wee bit. She was in a bad mood. She had really bad PMS, and she wanted to sort of inconvenience Farah because she fancied Tamlin.
I feel that.
Yeah. Well, and also, like, it's like, is Tamlin really that good? Like, why are you doing all this to, like, I don't understand, like, why you're so, like, need to...
I think she wants what she can't have.
Yeah.
So it might not be that, like, Tamlin is amazing, but it might literally be like, he doesn't want me. I'm going to make him pay.
Yeah. That's the woman scorned, essentially. I didn't, well, like, she was supposed to be controlling them all or being like the badass of them, but her powers are really limited, and they mentioned that several times, that her powers are actually limited. She's not really able, she can suppress everyone else's power, but she is still not really able to wield their power, like the High Lord's power at all. So
but
it was
kind of like a mask to your face.
But she can glue a mask to your face.
Sorry.
So no, that's hilarious. So yeah, I'm like, what? So then why? So then she's not all powerful. Then why does everyone have to like obey? I still didn't really understand why everyone have to obey her if she really wasn't that powerful. She was just suppressing everyone else's. Like, isn't their combined power still better than hers? Like, I didn't really understand, like,
because they don't like each other. Like, the courts don't like each other, so why would they work together?
That's true. That's true.
I think she just like maybe gave off the kind of like illusion of having more power than she did, because she might have been like kind of acting as if she had something else under her belt when really she didn't. She just tried to scare them into submission.
Well, it seemed like it seemed like she was helping the ultimate goal. She was kind of doing her own thing for a while, but the ultimate goal, especially between her and the king, was the other king, was that they were going to do the war against the humans. Like, they were going to kill them all. And that was the ultimate goal. And so the king was getting kind of whatever emissary they overheard was saying that like the king was kind of getting frustrated that she was kind of putting this off and that she was dealing with this human girl that was taking up their time. So, so that was my impression of that. I didn't think she was the best villain, but I didn't think she was the worst. I thought it was just more frustrating and more like, you know, Feyre was limited in what she was actually able to do, as opposed to Amarantha being actually all powerful.
I feel like you could take this whole story almost out of fairy, put it into a high school, and it would still work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Take out the fairy. Yeah, it probably would. Make Amarantha the woman scorned, the cheerleader.
Yeah, like the head cheerleader is Amarantha. Yeah. You have like the I don't know, like the quarterback and the captain of the team being like Tamlin and Rhysand. Like they're both ideal, same like level people.
Rhysand strikes me as like the bad boy rebel that like everyone stays away from. I don't know if I list him on the pod. He's like the one that like everyone wants, but is like too dangerous to actually like.
He's the one that rides a motorcycle and wears a leather jacket and smokes cigarettes outside of school.
He's the Heath Ledger from 10 Things I Hate About You vibe.
I would like him so much more if that was the case.
Heath Ledger was like, everyone was scared of him and didn't want him. They were just like, he's just like that weird dude.
He was also
kind of hot though. Still kind of hot though.
He was kind of Rhysand was kind of they called him Amarantha's whore. Like he was like he was considered like on her side and scorned for it a lot of the time.
Well, she was having sex with him. Mm-hmm. Like she used him as a pet, and so that's why they like called him her pet. So she was like, go pester Tamlin, and then he'd go and pester Tamlin.
So so I'm trying to think of any other characters we need to discuss or any other plot points.
Lucian. We've not discussed Lucian.
We have not discussed Lucian.
Which is fair because he's forgettable and kind of useless as well. So like
you know what? So I have to go back to Lucian. Reminds me of I'm going back to Cruel Prince because I don't know. I know you didn't really finish the book, Megan. I don't know if you've read. Have you read the Cruel Prince? Okay. He reminds me of one of like the fox-like character from Cruel Prince, who's friends with Cardan. You know, I can't think of his name. So, but maybe that's the red hair and the manipulative Lucian's being kind of a little bit of a manipulative one because he kind of wants Feyre to die, but kind of not.
Her up to die multiple times. He set her up to die multiple times by accident. Like he's
sometimes
like, oh, this is
like that.
This is how you catch this fairy. And if you yell, I'll come get you. And then he totally was like, peace out, sucker.
Thank you, Bree. It's Locke. Here, Lucian reminds me of Locke. Yes. I'm so glad I'm not the only one. He tried, well, and then he even admits that he hesitated when she was catching the cereal and she finally like yelled out. He like hesitated. He's like, he admits, he hesitated trying to go rescue her after she screamed when it wasn't the cereal, it was the Nagas that were coming at her, which were like 10 times worse.
He was like, I'll come get you if there's problems. And then she's like, problem. And he's like, I can't hear you. Like, like, bruh. And then he's like, Tamlin goes to save her. And then he's like mildly impressed that she actually did talk to the cereal. And then he's like, oh man, now I feel a little guilty that I was just going to leave you to die. Like, might be, homie. Next time.
What about you, Marianne? What were you going to say?
I didn't have kind of like any feelings either way about Lucian. Like he was okay, he was just there. Like I kind of understood his point of view though, where he was kind of like hesitating to save her because obviously she killed his like friend, but at the same time, I don't know if I'm misremembering this, but because of how it was played out, Tamlin actually sacrificed that wolf, yeah. Mm-hmm. So why was like Lucian so angry at her when it was Tamlin's fault?
Because she did it.
Because she did. Because she still
How-
killed their friend.
Well,
How dare she do something that needed to get done so that they could break this stupid curse? How dare?
Well, because she does it with hate in her heart, right? So they know that's part of the curse too.
rather than doing it because she knows she has to. Right, okay, fair enough.
Right. So they know that she had to do it with hate in her heart, that it wasn't provoked. So it's like a necessary thing, but they can still mourn their friend. Like they can still be, not, and they kind of forgive her very easily. So that kind of makes you go, I wonder why. I wonder why it was like, oh yeah. Let's move on. It's fine. Like they didn't seem to hold it against her for very long. So
Random thought.
Sure. Yes.
What if she killed the wolf because she actually did think it was a wolf and there wasn't hate in her heart? Like, she's just like, I'm like, what if this is like a totally different book, most likely, but it's just like, she's like, like, yeah, fairies are scary, but like, bro, that was a big ass wolf. Like, can you imagine Tamlin coming in there and she's being like, bro, did you see the size of that wolf? No hate, just fear.
And she doubted herself. She was like, okay, this could be fairy, but then she's like, no, it's not. And she still killed it anyway. And I kind of was like, but she also had hate in her heart, I think, for like in life. She hated her life. She hated what it became. She hated like what like same. She hated like what her what her life had become, and also that she was the hunter, that she had to be the hunter. So like there was a lot of resentfulness from her. So like I could see her having hate, not necessarily for Fairy, but like hate in her heart in general, like just for, I have to hunt, none of my family helps me, this is what I have to do to make sure that we don't starve, and this wolf is in my way about to kill my dinner, and I need to kill the wolf so I can get my food back to my family. So yeah, so I could kind of see it. I don't know if she had hate for Fairy, but I felt like she had hate in general. There was a lot. So that is fair.
Solution.
Like I said, I definitely subscribed him to Locke. If you're familiar with Cruel Prince, then you know what that means. Because he's kind of a trickster, he's kind of manipulative, but he's kind of flirty and he's kind of fun. Locke ends up being really, really terrible, and Lucia didn't go that dark path, but what? Thought. What?
F, marry, kill. Lucian Rhysand Tamlin.
Oh my god, are we gonna play this right now? I feel like
yes, we are.
We don't know enough.
That's good to do at book 1, and then we can like revisit book 2, and then we can revisit book 3.
Okay, we could do that. Oh, hey Izzy. Thanks for
appreciate you stopping by. We're playing. Can I curse on your channel?
I mean, I think so. Why not? I don't know why not.
I don't know if you're like against it.
I've been trying to
Fuck, marry, kill with Tamlin, Rhysand, and Lucian from book 1. Just book 1. If y'all want to play too, please. I want to know.
Yeah, no, you can curse. It's not set for kids or anything. Like I don't have like.
I just want to make sure before I'm like cursing all about your channel.
I mean, I think it's for me right now, at least for book 1, is fuck, marry, kill is going to be fuck Rhysand, kill Lucian, marry Tamlin. I think those are the 3 that I'm at right now, but that could change.
I mean, I was there with you. I was like, yeah, no, fuck Rhysand because he hot. Kill Lucian because he's useless, and marry Tamlin because main character, and killed the bad guy. Yeah. So he's not useless. He killed the bad guy.
Same, actually. Well, I agree. I concur.
Okay, you agree with that? Do you agree
that
would be
we're
yours?
all on the same page.
Okay, all right, we're all on the same page. We'll see if that changes. Oh, bye, Heather. Thanks for hopping on. So yeah, anyone else in the comments want to put it weigh in, fuck, marry, kill, of who they would choose, at least for book 1. Try not to give I know it's hard not to give spoilers for book 2.
I cannot wait for book 2 reaction.
Izzy. We're talking about if we do a live for that, be on Marianne's channel. So
it will be on Marianne's channel.
Yes. So subscribe to Marianne.
Marianne's like, why did I say I'd do that?
No, it'll be okay, Marianne. It'll be fine.
I'm scared.
You can do a practice live like
I did yesterday.
Stephanie did, yeah.
Right, okay. Yeah.
Oh, Bree. She'd marry Lucian.
Oh, Mary, fuck, right?
Kill Tamlin. I like it. I like it.
Kill Tamlin. All right.
Cold-blooded. But I like it. So we all agree that Rhysand was Amarantha's whore because she has good taste in men she wants to have sex with.
Well, then she also want to have sex with Tamlin. So
she wanted to marry Tamlin. She was with us. We align with Amarantha. How does that make you feel? Because she is effing Rhysand. She wants to marry Tamlin, and she's totally cool killing Lucian.
Killing Lucian. Yeah, I guess we're in Amarantha. Okay.
Existential crisis.
No, that's all right, Bree. No problem.
Yeah, Bree, like good.
Lucian. I liked Lucian too. I just didn't. I mean, and I like Lucian too. I just think that but he was like the less favorite out of the 3. I think for me, but that's totally fine. He can be totally your favorite. Let's see. Anything else that we wanted? There was one other thing that I was thinking of that I wanted to talk about. Another point. Oh, so one of the things that I was really surprised about was everyone, like you were talking about, Megan, I think about all the courts hating each other and not coming together, but then they all come together to make Feyre High Fae.
Because guilt and appreciation. Because they're like, our curse is broken, we have our powers, but also this poor human, I feel a little bad about it. So they were all just like, here's a drop of power. Rise, monster, rise.
That kind of threw me for a loop. I was not expecting that in the story. That was probably the surprise twist for me, at least. I was not expecting her to become High Fae. I was just like, oh, because I feel like most Beauty and the Beast, like, or at least a lot of fairy stories, like a lot of them remain human. So I was like, oh, they actually turn her Fae. That was interesting. I was really unexpected for me. I was not expecting that. What did you think? Go ahead, Megan.
I feel like I talk a lot. Marianne, you talk.
Did you have any thoughts or feelings on that?
Not particularly. I didn't see it coming. I wasn't expecting it. But I don't know. I was just like, oh, that's interesting. Wonder what happened next. She'll probably still put herself in danger and like risk dying, but sometimes it's like that.
Probably, because as you mentioned, she has no self-preservation. That's absolutely, So she's still going to put herself in danger. We know that.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose at least she puts herself in danger for good reason, because she's trying to protect other people. But at the same time, do you know who she reminded me of, actually, right? She reminded me vaguely of Harry Potter, because again, it was the whole, you know that you are going to die and you are too immature and like unequipped to deal with a situation, but then went and done it anyway just to get the glory.
Yeah, she's very self-sacrificing for sure, at least definitely at the end. And for her family. She says she does that for her family too.
Oh, going back to Feyre. Someone at the beginning is like, hey, be wary of fairies, the one who bought the pelt. And she was like, solid. Immediately goes into fairy world. And then Tamlin is like, hey, don't go to this weird kinky fairy orgy that we're having. It's dangerous for you. And then she's like, word, immediately goes into the like dark kinky fairy orgy. And then
I would probably turn up for that.
That's fair. I would too, actually. Yeah. And then they're like, Lucian like rescues her from it and is like, stay in your room. And she's like, word. And then I'm hungry, and like leaves the room. And then just like everything that people. Oh, and then the oh my god, what is her name? The fairy that sees the future is like, stay with the High Lord, and she's like, got it, stay with the High Lord. I could totally do that. Immediately leaves.
I question Feyre's judgment a lot, often, for sure. I think the big thing for me was the bargains that she made were terrible. She did a terrible job making those bargains.
And you're in her brain, so she's like, this is brilliant. I'm thinking this through. I got this. This is great. The whole time.
You didn't at all. You did a terrible job. You didn't stipulate. She didn't stipulate the time frame for beating the trials and getting released.
Mm-hmm.
And she didn't and only if she solved the riddle did she stipulate a time frame. And then she didn't stipulate a time frame for visiting Rhysand for because he said 2 weeks every month, and I was like, every month for how long? Every month for that was his original deal. I'm like, every month for how long? Every month for like forever? And then and now it's gonna be forever because now she's immortal now. Go figure. So, and
she dropped it down to a week now, so it's not half.
But she did it but I was like, no, the smart thing would be like, yeah, I'll give you a week for every month for a year. That would be make it a time constraint thing. But she was like, yeah, sure, a week every month forever. That sounds great. Like, what?
Because like she even had that thought after she made, another one. Alice was like, don't make deals, and immediately goes and makes a deal with Amarantha.
Make deals and drink the wine.
Yeah. Don't drink the wine, drinks the wine. I don't even remember what I was going to say. I'm just like, oh yeah, there was another thing that she did. Oh, that she thought about it. She's like, there was a time stipulation on the riddle, but there wasn't one on the other stuff. Nah, whatever. And then the same thing happened with Rhysand, where he didn't put a time stipulation. And she's just like, whatever.
Yeah, she just like, yeah, all right, fine. Were we going to say, Marianne? I felt like you were going to say something.
No, I don't have anything.
I just thought the way that she and also I'm coming off the Cruel Prince and some of the other like heroine Beauty and the Beast retellings who are really, really smart and think things through. Like her bargains were just very bad. Like I just was very like, okay, this was a terrible deal that you made. You did not think these things through whatsoever. So that was when I questioned her judgment. Everything else I was kind of like, okay, whatever. But that was when she made 2 terrible bargains. I was like, no, why? But she's go ahead.
What did y'all think of the mask curse? As the beast curse.
Marianne's not a fan. She's not shaking her head. She's like, no.
I just thought, like, why? It seems like a really bizarre choice. It was a choice. Like, they could have done anything, but they thought masks. We'll stick masks to their face. Because that inconveniences you so much. Like, we're literally doing it now in the middle of a pandemic. It's not that much an inconvenience.
It was okay. It was kind of strange. I kept thinking about, have you watched the Disney Live?
Yes, Brie. Thank you. They're fey, so like they're still hot. Thank you. And then, so they weren't even like full masks. Like they weren't like purge masks. They were like
they were like this, right?
Half face masks.
Yeah,
I think they were like half face and then like up. So like you couldn't see this part.
She mentioned she could see his cheek, some of his cheek and his lips.
Yeah, so I think it's like literally up like that, like the half face mask. You could still see like the little like prominent nose. You could see his eyeballs, and she could kiss him. That's probably why they did that. You got to have kissable lips no matter what.
For some strange reason, the whole like first half of it, for some reason, I pictured them as like, see the plague masks.
Oh yeah, the ones like this.
I don't know why, even though they kept describing them as like masquerade masks, that was just the vision I had in my head, and I was like, I cannot vibe with this.
So I was actually envisioning like, okay, so have you seen the Disney live action Beauty and the Beast? Sorry, I'm gonna have to keep going to the Beauty and the Beast because that's my life. So the live action, there's in the very beginning, they're all having a masquerade ball, and that's when he gets turned into the Beast. So I was picturing that like that was my envisioning of the masquerade ball, and the kind of masks that they had were very like elaborate, very like intricate and detailed.
I think
Like
you
that
said
was
they were
kind of
metal, which can't be comfortable to sleep in.
I mean, I guess if like it's formed to your face, it stops like feeling uncomfortable. It's just there now.
What if someone had one of those stick masks where like you hold it in front of your face and then the curse happens? But if they'd have like a stick like hanging, or would their hand be like permanently stuck in this position?
I'm assuming that the stick would go away and it would just be the mask there.
These are the thoughts that plague my mind.
So yeah, it was, but I mean, having to wear a mask for 50 years, that would be not a lot of fun. That's for sure.
But he's still hot. Like they didn't detract from his hotness. It was a well-formed face-fitting mask that only covered here and up.
Well, and as Brie mentioned, they're face, so they're still hot.
Still hot.
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
He's still tall. He's still got the bod. Still got the hair. Still got the eyes. Still got the lips. Most important feature in a romance.
So let's do one more question before we close out. What is predictions for book 2?
Oh, that's all Marianne and you, because I know.
Okay, so yeah, because you know, did you read all of book 2? Did you finish it as well?
I finished book 2.
Okay, book 3 is the only one that you haven't read. Okay.
I'm gonna like just quickly read the last page again because I don't. Oh yes,
the last scene I think is.
Reese has just said to Feyre that war is coming.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's the excerpt for the next book.
Yeah, so they're talking about
that.
Oh fuck sauce.
Did you read the excerpt for the last book thinking it was part of this?
No, I just did now.
Okay.
Right, I can't answer that question.
I think okay, so the last scene was it Rhysand saw Pharaoh, said something mysterious to her, and then like left, and now she's back in the Spring Court.
Yeah, the scene is them returning to Spring Court. That's where it ends. They're coming back to Spring Court. She's like, oh, it's home, and they're back home, and she says, and then Tamlin is like, welcome back home, and like, yeah, so they have a whole moment going back to the Spring Court, and but there's like a sense of, at least from I skimmed the excerpt. I didn't read it because I knew it was, I don't like excerpts that start in the middle of things. It ends with like a note of like, oh, I'm home and I'm with Tamlin and I'm sort of happy, but I'm sort of not. Like it kind of left with like the ending kind of was like, I killed all these, because she's super guilt-ridden about the 2 Fae that she killed, right, in the last trial. So she's like, I'm super. It just kind of ends with like, I'm super happy to be with my man, but also not really. Like there's some dissatisfaction happening. Like she's not entirely, and I'm back at the Spring Court, but I'm still dealing with like the guilt of everything that I did and happened. Mm-hmm. And it kind of made me go, it definitely makes me think that like Tamlin and her are still on not on great terms. Like she's still not, she's like sort of happy she's with them, but also kind of not anymore because of what she had to do.
He didn't help her at all in the whole last third of the book. Yeah. He just stood there and then like groped her once.
But I mean, if you come, yes and no, because to me it was like, if you came at it from his perspective, if he did anything to help her, Amarantha would have just killed her instantly. Like,
I mean, both Rhys and Lucian were able to like sneak away to help her. I'm pretty sure he could have used his like whatever brain he has to have figured out a way to sneak to her room and help her and like heal her something.
I know. I hear you, but I
Like wink
understand what.
at least once, just to be like, I see you, boo, like something.
Yeah.
I th-
Go ahead, Marianne.
I think she's going to be harbouring a wee smidge of resentment towards him, and I think that's going to cause upset in the relationship.
I think so too. Yeah, I definitely can see that. Yes, I agree, Megan, but I also can see the other side of thinking that if he really was under like Amarantha's thumb and she was really watching him like a hawk, like Lucian implied, like Lucian, I think it said at some point, like he can't get away, like he's being watched really closely, or maybe Rhysand said that. But I got the impression that it was really, really hard for him to get away. So I don't know. Like I feel like I wish Tamlin had said that. Like I wish there had been like something for Tamlin to be like, look, I have to do this to protect you. But he never said it. It was other people saying it for him. Which I thought was annoying.
He could have drawn her a picture because she can't read and like given it to Lucian to give to her. Like she recognizes letters. He could have been like heart, T, and F or something.
You just wanted something from him. You needed like some sort of SOS message.
Something.
Oh, I love it. Okay. So any other predictions from you, Marianne? Or that's where you're thinking?
That's as far as I can think currently. I've got no idea. I remember finishing it, and like I said, even though everything that I've said here probably suggests the opposite, I did actually really enjoy it. And at the end, I was like, right, I want to see what happens next. I just didn't have any forethought as to what it might be.
That's fair. You liked it enough to continue
the
story.
Yes.
I definitely.
It will still be readable, if nothing else.
It read. Also it reminded me a lot of. I mentioned Cruel Prince. I mentioned Beauty and the Beast tropes, but also it reminded me a lot of A Curse and So Dark and Lonely by Bridget Kemmerer. I
haven't read that, but isn't that also a Beauty and the Beast retelling?
It is, and it reminded me a lot of this one too. And and they must be friends because she mentions Sarah J. Maas mentions Bridget Kemmerer in her acknowledgments, which I thought was interesting. Because A Curse So Dark and Lonely also ended in a very kind of interesting way as well. So I was like, I wonder. I haven't continued with that series yet, though. I haven't.
Liked that book. She did so good. 10 out of 10.
I like Her So Dark and Lonely. I really actually enjoyed it a lot. Oops. Yes, I really enjoyed that book a lot. But I have to finish that series. I haven't picked up the second book yet. It reminded me a lot of this one. Reminded me a lot of that one too.
I didn't read it.
So yes. Okay. Anything else before we any last thoughts, comments before we finish up?
Rank the sisters.
I mean, rank the sisters or rank like all three of them, right? Including Feyre?
Yeah, including Feyre.
Feyre,
like, I don't know, favorite to least. One that you would more likely go to have like coffee with.
Well, that's a whole different list. I think that because I spent most time with Feyre, I think she's a favorite anyway. Just because I spent more time with her, but not necessarily because I like her. That makes sense. And then Nesta and probably Elaine last as favorite. Because that's what I consider favorite to be most interesting. Elaine's not really interesting.
I think I'd be most likely to go get a coffee with Elaine. I actually think I'd go Elaine, Nesta, Feyre, because with Nesta I could just have like a really nice bitch session.
What about you, Marianne?
I don't think I would go for coffee with any of them.
You'd call in sick.
Yeah.
I'm sick.
I'd be like, sorry, something's came up. And it's not that like either any of the three of them are inherently like bad people. It's just I don't find them interesting enough for me to wish to spend time with them.
It's fair.
I would
That's fair.
probably rather have coffee with Amarantha.
With her eyeball ring, just like,
Oh my god.
that'd be a whole different level of people watching.
Oh my god. I like I said that at the end that finger bone, that ring went missing, and I'm like, I really hope they find it again, because I want Jurian to be set free. Like, even though yes, he was a terrible person, but like I don't think I don't think anyone deserves that kind of punishment, no matter what you
No,
did. It's awful.
It's fair. It's rough.
So I hope that I was like, find the ring, man. I really cared about
suddenly
that a lot.
It's a whole different book.
Yeah.
The One Ring.
Different series. Entirely different. So anyways, all right then. I think we'll close it here. And I think there's tentative plans to do another live show for the second book.
We have to do one for the second book because it is so different from the first book.
I'll get it literally sitting there, like 5 feet away from me, so that I can start it as soon as this is finished.
Oh, I will be starting that today.
I'll probably be starting it this. I don't know if I'll start today, but I'll definitely start this probably this weekend. I want to do 2
weeks.
Yeah, we do have still 2 weeks. We'll do 2 weeks, and then we'll do 2 weeks, and then we'll announce a date for that live as well.
I'm gonna do tabs this time so that I can actually like look in and remember what I'm talking about.
I highlighted a lot on my I
thought you meant with a pen on the paper.
No. On my Kindle. It was on my Kindle.
You just wrecked that book.
No, I did my highlighting on my Kindle. I have highlighted actual books before, but not very often. I don't do it very often. It's cringy. I love it. But yeah, I highlighted a ton on my Kindle because I wanted to remember some of the lines that were used and to reference back in the series once I continue on with the series to see if certain things hold up. So yes. So next live show is planned for Marianne's channel. Her links are down below, as well as Megan, so you can check out their channels and subscribe to them. And yeah, we'll be back. Stay tuned for book 2. Yay! Thanks everyone who watched.
Thank
Bye.
you.
And